Hey everyone, Dr. Zio here again, and today we're going to talk about Power Rangers Dino Fury Episode 8, Unexpected Guest. I know it's been a while since the episode actually aired. My laptop broke, a little bit after the episode aired, so I didn't really have a chance to record and edit a review. Fortunately for me, I managed to get a new computer, built my own first computer and all that, and that was a very fun, exciting experience, but you're here today to watch me talk about this episode of Dino Fury just before the new episodes come out next week. So let's get right into it. Overall, I really enjoyed this episode. Like, I really, really enjoyed it. It made me an actual fan of Mick, which is something that Ninja Steel couldn't do. I always love me some Kelson Henderson. Like, his roles in Power Rangers have been good, except for the Yeti in Overdrive. I didn't really like that one, but otherwise, I generally always like Kelson Henderson in this. And I didn't really like. He's a great actor. I don't have a problem with his acting. I didn't like his character though in Ninja Steel. So it was a surprise to me that, having him in this, he was actually good. Like when I saw the promo pics before Dino Fury premiered, I thought, oh no, they're bringing back Mick. That's not good. But yeah, I enjoyed having him here. We'll get to that here in just a second, though. First thing I want to talk about is the fact that this episode actually started off in media res, meaning that it started right in the middle of the action. There's no real introduction to the events of the episode. We start off with the Rangers in a Megazord battle, in a Zord combination that we haven't been formally introduced yet. All the Rangers have gotten their own introduction with their own Megazord at the helm of the Zord formation. Whereas Ollie, our Blue Ranger of the season, his Zord, I think it's a Stegozord, I want to say. It's probably not a Stegozord. I'll include it in the notes below. But his Zord introduction, which is primarily a sword-based Zord, we just get it here. Like, there's no grandiose introduction. And I don't like how they shortchanged my boy like that. Like, I was actually looking forward to this. And it makes the moment at the end of this episode where all the Zords combine together kind of feel just a little bit. It doesn't feel as earned because we didn't get individual introductions for each of the individual Zord formations. Nevertheless, I like how immediate this fight was. It kind of reminded me of the original cut of Legendary Battle, or was it The Wrath? There we go. Power Rangers Super Mega Force episode 19, I think it was, The Wrath, where the Rangers are fighting Leviera, and they immediately go from the what was the name of that? Shoot, I don't remember the name of the Megaforce Zord. The Super Megaforce Megazord. They immediately go into the Samurai formation, take out I'm really bad with these names right now. Whatever the name for the Rekka Dai Santo, the English name for that was, the giant sword was. They immediately just chop Leviera in half, and it's like, that fight had a bit of urgency that it lost in the extended cut, because we get more of that. We get more footage. We get more of that fight, right? When you didn't really need it, I enjoyed the urgency in that because we immediately get into the whole invasion, and so having this episode start off in media res kind of gave me that kind of feeling as well. There's something urgent going on. We need to get to that as soon as possible, which the Rangers immediately get their Zord taken apart by, I think the villain or the monster of the week for this week was Wolfgang, I want to say. His Howl takes apart the Megazord, which was a pretty good CGI sequence. I thought it was kind of disturbing the way the Zord kind of fell apart. You would think they would just fall apart like Legos, but it looked like there were parts of it that kind of popped out from the connector pieces. Then there were parts of it where it just kind of felt like it was like someone sliced it in half with a knife. And I was like, ooh, this is interesting and kind of, ooh, I don't like that. It sends like the heebie-jeebies up my spine. It was weird. And them being concerned about the Megazord after that and how to get the Megazord back in functional was nice. But one thing I didn't like about this episode was the fact that they completely dropped that part of the plot after Mick's introduction. Like, there was no sense of, hey, how do we get... Like, Zato is mad at Mick initially because Mick is like, hey, y'all, it's nice to meet you. Let's go ahead and team up and search for the Ninja Next Prism, which is back on Earth for reasons. But Zato's all like, no, we have bigger things. We have bigger fish to fry. We need to figure out why our sword broke apart and how we can get it back together, which I don't blame Zato for that. I don't blame Zato for not wanting to team up with this complete stranger in that moment in time, because they do have bigger fish to fry. Because as we saw in the first episode, the sports beasts weren't that big of a problem until they grew giant. So if we don't have a way to combat the sports beasts when they're giant, we're gonna run into a situation where the Earth is gonna get destroyed or laid waste or whatever. So I understand why Zato was more concerned with the Zord than he was with Mick in that moment in time. But the fact that we don't really bring up how they get the Zord fixed later on in the episode felt like a missed opportunity and feels like they just kind of wasted the setup here. I mean, we can assume that Solon or Mick and Solon helped prepare the Zord because Mick has Zord experience with him helping out with the Ninja Steel Rangers. But I would have liked to see something at least a scene where they tell you, hey, we need to figure out how to, we're going to repair the Zord while you Rangers go, look for the Ninja Nexus Prism or go to protect the Ninja Nexus Prism at the harbor. That would have been a nice little tie back to, the setup we had earlier on in the episode. Not really getting that kind of bothered me. But anyway, yeah, having Mick here was very, very nice. Having him excited that the Rangers demorphed was cool too. His classic demorph line, little nitpick. Again, I would love it if the Rangers said power down. Like we haven't had Rangers saying power down when they demorph since I want to say when Lily demorphed in Jungle Fury, the episode where where Camille was hanging out at the pizza place in disguise. I want to say that's the last time a Ranger said power down before they demorphed. I know it was in Jungle Fury, but I don't know the exact episode. But it would have been a nice little moment to have the Rangers say power down to go with Mick's line of that being a classic demorph. Again, at this point, I don't expect it, but it's something I've been wanting for years now. So yeah, give me a bone there, please. But yeah, anyway, so after that, we get to a scene where, Mick and, afterward, we go back to Buzz Blast, fight ensues, yada yada. We go back to the Rangers bring Mick back to the base. He talks to them about him having a little hard drive with a copy of the legendary Ranger database that he's been keeping up to date. And I thought that was nice. We know that, or I guess this confirms that Mick has been keeping an eye on all the Ranger teams and all that kind of stuff. Kind of similar to what we saw Tommy doing in Legacy of Power, the I think 4th episode of Power Rangers Dino Thunder, where we had Tommy's little clip show that told us that Tommy's been keeping tabs on all the Ranger teams that came after him. So to know that Mick is kind of taking up that mantle as well, it's nice. I enjoyed that. I want to see more of Mick. I really, really do. But I think the big thing for this episode was Zato, touching the Ninja Nexus Prism and finding out that the Morphin Masters were the ones who created it. Not only did they create the Ninja Nexus Prism, but they also created some other MacGuffins throughout the Power Rangers years. They created the Dino Gems from Dino Thunder, as well as the Energems from Power Rangers Dino Charge. And that was nice. That means that we know that they're powering 3 sources: Dino Thunder, Dino Charge, and Ninja Steel. And it makes you wonder, 4 sources, Dino Fury as well. And obviously that brings up a whole bunch of questions like, well, if they created those MacGuffins and those power sources, does that mean that they also created or helped Ninja create the power coins? Does that mean that they had something to do with creating the Zeo crystals, or did they create? Did they help create the Quasar Sabers in Lost Galaxy? It brings up so many questions that could be explained by the Morphin Masters did that, or the Morphin Masters did this. Like Kendrick was brought back to life. Was that the result of meddling from the Morphin Masters? Like, did they bring her back to life? Like, and Steel coming back to life in Beast Morphers. Like, did they do that as well? Because Zato saw a scene of Steel dying, so we know that the Morphin Masters were looking at that moment. Like, did they, deem it worthy to bring him back to life at that second? Like, who knows? Like, we know that we're gonna have more lore moments later on in the season, And I'm excited to see, what more they use the Morphin Masters to explain and how that ties into the events for this season. But yeah, then the Rangers can. Well, actually, one thing I do want to bring up in this episode as well is that I didn't like the fact that when the Rangers were going up against Wolfgang and Boomtower, I didn't like the fact that they got knocked into boxes and then had a whole. They had a whole lot of trouble getting out of them. Why? I didn't understand that. We didn't see. Those boxes could not have been that heavy. The fight had not lasted that long. There was no indication that they were injured so much that they couldn't just lift the boxes off of them. That felt like a really weird and really forced scene to have Mick come and save the day. Granted, I enjoyed Mick saving the day. I enjoyed him actually wanting to fight as well. No, we had the scene where he was like, all right, I'm ready. And that was cool. It shows that you don't really need power to be a hero. And I love those scenes in Power Rangers whenever they pop up, whether it's the end of Lightspeed Rescue or End of Lightspeed Rescue and the end of Ninja Storm. Although that's kind of cheating because the Ninja Storm Rangers have their ninja powers, but still, it shows that even though you don't have power, you can still be a hero. You can still be a ranger, so to speak. But yeah, I like that scene, but I didn't like. Yeah, it felt a little bit forced. And then the Rangers combined all their Megazords together to form the Dino Fury Megazord Warrior Formation, which it was a nice little fight. I enjoyed it. They immediately got rid of Wolfgang in a surprisingly stabby scene. I wasn't expecting that. Another thing I want to talk about was we'll get to that at the end actually. But yeah, that's pretty much the episode. They go back to the base. They have more hijinks. Oh, I did like the fact that Mucus, when Wolfgang got destroyed, Mucus caught Wolfgang's sporks thing. Powered up sporks. There we go. When Mucus caught Wolfgang's powered up sporks with a baseball mitt for some reason, I like how she said that he was gonna sing at her birthday party. That was weird and it was goofy and I loved it. And then the little tussle between Izzy and Mucus later on, where Izzy pushed Mucus out of the way to grab the sporks, the other powered sporks from the one that Boomtower used to power himself up. That was nice. I enjoyed that. But yeah, that's pretty much the episode. They say goodbye to Mick. Mick leaves. That's it. Zato asked Mick if he knew where Ravcon was, and Mick didn't know. But the universe is a wide place, so that's not to say that Ravcon's been destroyed or that there's nobody on Ravcon. So hopefully we'll see more of that from episodes 9, 10, 11 next week. But yeah, that was pretty much the episode. Again, I enjoyed it. It was a good episode. Just little complaints here and there, but overall I enjoyed it. Alright, and so now it's time for questions of the week. So question number 1 is, what exactly was the Ninja Nexus Prism looking for? So we see the Ninja Nexus Prism scanning the harbor, but we don't really get an inkling of what it was looking for exactly. It even goes down into the water itself. Now I've seen discussion online hypothesizing that it was looking to find or activate the Gold Ranger Zord, or even the Gold Ranger's Dino Fury Key, which, I mean, that's honestly a good hypothesis. His Zord is based on a fish, I want to say. I don't know exactly what it is, but some sort of water animal dinosaur thing. But if so, why? Why did the Morphin Masters want to get the Gold Ranger back in place so badly? Do they believe that the Sporks Beasts are that big of a threat that they need to get the Gold Ranger in play? Or do the Morphin Masters know that there's something else out there that's coming that the Rangers are going to need all 6 people to fight? Who knows? So second question relates to my favorite scene that I didn't want to discuss in the initial part of the review, but my favorite scene was when Void Knight went into the back room. So this, like I mentioned a few reviews ago, Void Knight's whole back room thing reminded me of the Power Rangers in Space episode Survival of the Silver, which I'm happy that they kind of kept this going. So we see that there's a woman in some type of stasis there, and we learn from the end credits that that woman's name is Santara. So, who is Santara? What relation does she have to Void Knight? Void Knight indicates that, that's his love. Does that mean that that's his girlfriend, his wife, some type of significant other? Who is she? I want to learn more. What role does she play in all of this? Because Void Knight is going through so much trouble to get these Sporix beasts to revive this person. She is obviously super important. I mean, why? I want to know more about this person. I want to know more about Void Knight himself. That also leads us to our next question, which is Santara good or is she evil? Like, this could be a very interesting conflict, because if Santara turns out to be good, then Void Knight's been causing all this ruckus to revive somebody who may not necessarily agree with all the things that he's done to get her back in shape and whatever. So if she is good and he successfully gets enough Sporix beasts to revive her, what is her reaction going to be? That could easily lead into a season 2 plotline where there's a fractured relationship here, where Santara might join the Rangers and Void Knight might, be our, season 2 baddie as well. Or it could flip the script where Santara could be evil, she could be even worse than Void Knight, and maybe they don't see eye to eye on where they go from there, so that Santara becomes the evil villain for season 2, and Void Knight goes and helps the Rangers to defeat her. And optics aside of a boyfriend-girlfriend kind of conflict in that way, beating each other up, that could still pose an interesting plotline, because if you have Void Knight switching sides, but Santara is staying on the forces of evil, so to speak, and helping whatever Sporix beast that she wants to, now Void Knight has that conflict where he has to decide, well, am I going to help the Rangers defeat her, or am I going to try to do the Naruto talk no jutsu and talk her down and get her on our side so we can clean up the mess that I created? Like, there's so many avenues that they could go with, and I'm excited to see where they end up going. And our last question of the week is, if the Morphin Masters made the Energems, all 10 Energems, what was the deal with the Dark Energem? Like, why did they make an inherently evil Energem? Like, that's so bizarre. Like, is it a yin and yang situation where they had to balance out the good they created with evil? Like, I want to know more. Like, I hope we get a little bit more explanation about the whole process of why they made each of the MacGuffins and why there was that evil MacGuffin that they also made. But anyway, I will see you all next week when we review episodes 9, 10, 11 of Power Rangers Dino Fury, which is coming to Netflix on Tuesday the 15th at 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So look forward to those episodes coming up next week, and also my reviews coming up next week for those individual episodes. Let me know what you thought about episode 8 in the comment section below. Until next time, again, wear your mask, get vaccinated. Hope you have a good weekend, and stay safe. See you.